Hey, my name's Ryan Curran, and I'm going to be teaching a strategy for my week 7 assignment, and I'm going to be using my lesson plan that I developed in week 6. So what we're going to be learning today is about adding within 20. More specifically, we're going to simplify the lesson because we're just beginning. We're going to work on adding within 10. But it's going to be the same exact idea once we start adding within 20. So everything we learn today, we can implement in the future, which means use in the future, to add within 20. So keep that in mind as we're learning this. We're going to be adding within 10, but in the future we will add within 20 and then more. So what we use is something called a tens frame, which is up on the video. As we learned before, we can use a tens frame by dragging and dropping. We have a couple colors we can use here if we're trying to do an addition problem. So for example, an addition problem, it might say addition, let's call it an equation. It might say 5 plus 5, and we can look and see, oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red, and there's 5 yellow. So 5 plus 5, we count it out, and it equals 10. So we'll put these back. The focus today in the lesson is not only adding within 10 or adding within 20, but it's adding within 10 while using a word problem. So what that means is that we will look at a word problem, we will read the word problem, and then we're going to turn that word problem into a mathematical equation. So this is going to be effective because in the future, word problems are used a lot within math, not only in simple elementary math, but also in pre-algebra and algebra, so on and so forth. So we want to be able to develop the skills in not only reading word problems, but also understanding what they're asking. And one way that we can understand what they're asking is by showing how to write an equation to represent what they're asking. So that's what we're going to learn today. So I want to show and demonstrate a couple word problems here. The first one, it says, if you look up to the picture of the cookies, it says if you bake 5 cookies and then bake another 5, how many cookies have you baked? So then if we go to our tens frames, we can use the tens frame and we can say we baked 5 cookies, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the first 5 cookies we baked, and then we baked 5 more. So it's usually yellow just to decipher that, or to be able to tell apart that there was 2 numbers in the equation. So if it says we baked 5 cookies and then we baked another 5 cookies, the tens table shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies in red. And then it says we baked another 5 cookies, so it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies in yellow. So what that means is we can count and add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as we're counting our dots in the tens frame. And to be able to put that into an equation, I want you to look at the tens frame and I want you to see 5 red plus 5 yellow. And what that equals, we just counted out, it equals 10. And let's go back to another word problem. We'll do one more. And once again, keep in mind that this same method works for adding and subtracting within 20. Okay, let's read the next one with the marbles. It says if you have 2 marbles and you win another 8 marbles, how many marbles would you have? So same exact concept. This time I'm going to talk to you before we use the tens table how to write the equation. So if we have 2 marbles and then we have 8 marbles, that means we're going to be adding 2 to 8. So what does that mean for our equation that we're writing down? So similarly to the equation before, when it said we had 5 cookies and then we made 5 more, it's 5 plus 5. So in this situation, it's 2 plus 8. So I want you all to write down 2 plus 8, and now we're going to figure out what that equals. And we'll choose our 10 tables for that. So let's look over here, and we do 1, 2 marbles is what we start with. And then we got how many more? We got 8 more. So we'll choose yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we know the tens table when it's full, that equals 10. So then we know 2 marbles plus 8 marbles equals 10 marbles. So not every single equation or word problem that we read is going to equal 10. Those two just happen to equal 10. So before we move on and before we start doing our worksheet, I want you to remember that what we're doing is we are taking a word problem, and it's your job to be a detective and solve that word problem and turn it into a mathematical equation. All the mathematical equations we'll be doing today are going to be addition, so you don't need to worry about when you need to decide if it's subtraction or not. That's going to be our next lesson. So let's work on the worksheet right now. I'll pass it around, and if you have questions, raise your hand and we'll come and help you.